Hi everyone, today I'll be doing a review of Power of the Primes Deluxe class Blackwing, or some of you might know him as Darkwing from his G1 name. So he comes with a set of instructions, 2 small guns, and a Prime Master holder. So the 2 small guns can go nicely on his hands. He can hold both of them at the same time. And you can fit the Prime Master on the outer side of his arm, or on the hole on his chest, like so. Taking a closer look at his painted details, he's got paint on his eyes, his mouth, his chest, paint on his midsection, and his hands. Now his wings are completely painted in purple and then templed with the Decepticon logo and some yellow paint, some yellow deco, and then more paint on his knees and his feet. For articulation, he's got a head on a ball joint that can look up that much, down not much, left and right. Shoulders on a hinge that can go up like that. Ball joint over here as well that can go out, forward and up. Swivel at the bicep and at the elbow. No wrist articulation. His wings are also articulated on a ball joint over here and a swivel over here. So you get some motion forward and backward and then sideways. So you can pose his wings as far out or back as you desire. He's got a waist swivel, ball jointed hips that go forward and back that much, and almost not much of a full split. Thigh swivel over here, bend at the knee, and no ankle articulation. And here's a size comparison of him with some of the more recent releases like Dreadwind, Overlord, and Battle Trap. So let's get down to transforming him. First you turn his head around, bring up the airplane cockpit, make sure he pegs in on the top of his chest. You bring his arms down to the side. Now turn him around to the back, flip out this entire panel. Now flip the wings over. You can extend them now and peg them back in. Make sure the cockpit's pegged in like just now. Now you want to open up the legs from the back and bring them up just like on Dreadwind. Then have the holes facing outwards so that the panels can peg in. Put the feet together now and tap the arms to the side pegs. And now you can have the wings as far out or as tucked in as you want, and lower the back fins. And here he is in vehicle mode. And you can peg the Prime Master onto the top with guns on his side panels. One thing about his plane mode is that the way that it's stored in the packaging causes the tail fins to splay out, so it doesn't look great and it's probably hard to get them back into position. Some size comparisons of him with his partner in crime Dreadwind, a Legends class figure. and Voyager Scale Cyclonus. Now to combine Dreadwind and Blackwing into Dreadwing. First we take Dreadwind. You want to lower his wings down to the back. Flip up the back fins over here. Lower them down, peg them in, like so. Now he's done. We set him aside for a while. Let's go back to Blackwing. And now you want to raise his cockpit up, as well as his head. And open up the back panel, bring out this flap from behind, and then turn his wings forward. Peg in the panels. Now have his wings out to the side. Now you want to put this peg into the back over here. And they peg in just like that. It's not the most secure connection, and after looking at this in its final state, I am actually kind of underwhelmed by this. So first off, there are two small nubs over here and over here that are supposed to keep the two planes from rotating between each other, but it doesn't really work that well. Next, I can still see Blackwing's head up here, which actually doesn't lend itself to the illusion of a giant combined plane. And for some mixing up or some extra detail, I actually like to keep the wings with the Decepticon logo and temples facing upwards, and you connect them this way again. So it actually looks more colorful and more interesting this way. Okay, now to get him into combiner leg mode. So first thing you do is flip up the back panels, and then onto this panel, disconnect the cockpit, make sure the head remains inside the cockpit, pulled out this panel. Now you want to flip it down, like so, flip the wings around. Now bring this panel back up, but this one remains down, so you can connect the cockpit to these peg holes in the back. And then flip the wings this way up right now. You can see that you can snap them to lock them in position, and then they're held in place by this small peg hole over here. Same for the other side. Now the hands can stay where they are. Flip this down just slightly and bring up the combiner port. Put this peg, this flap, back this way and connect the legs back. So this is the combiner leg mode. The Prime Master doesn't serve as a foot, so I'm going to use a third-party foot and connect it together. And now I'll just connect him onto Galvatronus for a very interesting looking aerial combiner. Okay, now to get him into combiner hand mode. I will show you how to do that using the official way in the instructions, and then show you some problems with that and how to change the configuration into something that I accidentally discovered myself. So this is the official way. You gotta fold the back wing, the back fins up. Now open up the legs, bring them down so you can have the combiner elbows. Same thing, have the pegs facing you, close the panels, make sure the legs are together to form the lower arm. Now swing the hips this way, open up this panel, flip this panel on top, bring the combiner port out, put this panel back on, have the cockpit folded back with the head tucked in here, bring the wings up, and now onto the robot arms. You gotta bring them on top and then bend them, the lower arms, like that. Now take the Prime armor, fold the fingers out, put the thumbs in, get this peg out, connect it to the bottom, and you have a combiner arm. Now this arm has a couple of problems. First, it doesn't look very balanced with the other arms, so they kind of look different from each other. Now that's only the first problem. Next, if you're going to connect this port into a combiner body, you will realize that the articulation over here, in order to move the arms out, is hindered inside here by this very same peg that lets you combine it with Dreadwind. So this peg actually prevents you from moving the combiner arm outward because of the way it interferes with this back panel. So what I'm going to show you right now is how I will change the form of this combiner arm to make it more functional and look better, probably. So you got to flip this panel down, have the cockpit like straight up. So going back into this combiner port, bring this flap down, and then re-extend the combiner port outwards. Now bring this cockpit and then reattach it to the back over here, just like the way you would make it a combiner leg. And then have the arms fold this way in, and you will realize that there is a small peg and a hole over here that just happens to fit really nicely. Same for the other side. And then you can bring the wings back up, or rather this way around. Lock them into position, and they will be held in position just like in the combiner leg mode. So now you have a neater looking arm that is more symmetrical with the other side. And this combiner port over here, its movement is not hindered at all right now. And yeah, one more last step is to put this peg back into its correct position onto the combiner port. And now to attach him to Galvatronus. So as you can see, he looks pretty neat together with Galvatronus. Some final thoughts on this guy. I'll say his robot mode is okay, it's pretty average. He compares well with Dreadwing, but the combined mode with Dreadwing for the combined plane mode, that was a bit of a letdown. It was underwhelming, and I was actually looking forward to it so much. However, the combined mode arms and leg modes actually function pretty well, and I would still be getting him to complete my Galvatronus aerial team. If you like what you see, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And also don't forget to check out my Instagram profile in the description below. And thanks so much for watching my review.